And what is the ripple you hope your story will create?
Freedom.
Oh, yes.
Freedom. And although there is no total freedom, you always depend on somebody. But at least freedom to be able to manage your time the way you want.
Welcome to Play It By Your Rules, the podcast for those tired of living by somebody else's script and ready to live and lead on their terms. I'm your host, Maggie Rombach, coach, speaker, and strategist. I'm here to spark a little rebel energy and leave you with a sense of possibility. Each episode, I'll talk to leaders, adventurers, experts, and changemakers who found their way. Some loud and bold, others quiet and intentional. You'll walk away with fresh insights, inspiration, and practical tools to chart your next chapter. If you're craving more freedom, flow, and fun, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Play It By Your Rules, the podcast that encourages a mindful rebellion to challenge the old scripts, find your voice, and design a career and a life that fits who you're now and not who you've been told to be. So today we are exploring a super exciting topic. As always, I'm extremely excited about my guest because we'll be looking into portfolio careers, because many high performers at midlife are done with just following this old game of climbing the ladder, but then it's not always clear what to do next. So today I have an expert in that matter with us, Annie Filipova. And as always, I pass you the word right away to introduce yourself. What are you up to and what are you aiming to achieve in life?
Hey, Maggie, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really happy to be speaking with you on topics which I love. So it will be an interesting discussion. So, who am I? Well, I'm Bulgarian. I was born many years ago behind the Iron Curtain. I managed my desire to travel and my love for adventure have driven my career and my life. And because of that, I managed to climb in banking to the highest level of one of the largest American banks, Citibank. I have lived in 5 countries, and at one point I decided that I just want to try something different, have a different life. I left my corporate career. I was chief operating officer of one of the largest products of Citibank in Asia, covering 16 countries. And I moved back to Europe and started my portfolio career. And now, today, I help professionals, successful professionals, to basically do what I did, live their corporate life, and start creating a career and life that they enjoy and gives them freedom, impact, and also income. That's me.
Fantastic. And I already see so many connection points because you mentioned adventure. I
Yeah.
think that also something that connects us. And what I realize many midlife leaders, I use the analogy of Everest Base Camp. They made it to Everest Base Camp and then they go like, okay, do I want to summit? But if I summit, that's going to be really difficult. But if not, do I want to stay at base camp? Do I want to climb another mountain? And that really resonates because it speaks to that spirit of adventure. And my tagline is actually freedom, flow, and fun. So I also
Ah,
feel like there's a similar space, right? It
very,
feels
very similar.
like
Yeah.
at midlife, maybe some people don't even wait for midlife. But
Yeah.
I just feel like there's really a desire out there, and I see that with many people I work with, that people I talk to break free, isn't it? It's kind of
Yeah.
what you did, and now you're helping to other people to break free too,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. That's what
That's
I do. Yeah.
wonderful. So maybe before we go into the bit more specifics, can you define how you, like for you, a portfolio, what is it? A portfolio career.
What is
What
a
is it?
portfolio career?
What
All
is
right.
that?
So portfolio career is a very stretchy thing. It cannot be boxed into one thing, and that's the beauty of it, right? It's a portfolio. It comes from the word, so you're not doing only one thing, you're doing several things. And in this portfolio you can have different products, different services. You can even keep your full-time job, or you have a half-time job, or you have a small company. So it's a collation of things that basically bring you income, but also make your life interesting, and you follow a passion, a hobby alongside it. So a portfolio career is several income streams and potentially other activities where you don't draw any income, but you do it because you enjoy it and because you have the time. So it is a combination of things. And I also have a podcast. My podcast is called Change is Possible. And on my podcast, I interview people who have done the same as I have done. They have left their corporate life and started a different career. So every time I speak with somebody, I'm amazed that the process and the questions and the worries and the pitfalls are the same, but then the structure of what a portfolio career is are very different, and they depend very much on what the people are, what do they like, what are their expertise, what do they want to package into income streams. So it's really exciting. I've seen people who keep their corporate life, but corporate job, but they have alongside, they have podcast, or they have written a book, or they do coaching, or something else, have community. And I have seen people who have basically started at that point, right? They have their corporate career, but also alongside they decide, okay, why don't I invest in something different, something on the side? And that something different has grown so much that now their current career is actually an obstacle for them to scale their side interest. And that's the best place to be. So it's a very, very diverse thing, the portfolio career. And that's exactly what it was designed to be, because as people, we are not designed to do one thing. We are designed to do many different things and engage in different activities. And I don't know why and how this happened, that we were put in these boxes, and then so you enter that box or that room, and that's it. You're going to stay there all your life. But now this is changing, and with the digital world, everything is so much more accessible. Founding your own company, and company sounds very, very big word. I'm not talking about startup. I'm talking about your coaching practice, or your community, or your accelerator, where you're teaching in a matter of several weeks people something that you know and you're an expert in. You can start that by having your computer, your idea, and your computer connected to internet, and you have a social media account, and that's it. You're connected to billions of people in the world. There are there are 4.2 billion people on social media. So imagine you can connect them all, right? In reality, well, in practice, you're not going to. But the thing is, you're out there, you can connect with your clients, with your partners, future collaborations, all through social media. So it has never been such a so easy to start your own business. And honestly, I don't know why people don't do it more.
And first of all, I'm definitely going to put your podcast into the show notes and check it out myself, because I always love news stories about concrete stories, how people did it. I find it so inspiring. But I want to pick up of 2-3 things you said, which I think are really interesting. So one is also to normalize for listeners, to start with a side hustle. That's okay. Just start small and see what happens. And then if you come to that luxurious place where it becomes so big you have to quit your job, well, perfect, then you just move. But that's quite a smooth transition. The other bit, it's also the whole notion that portfolio careers become more and more normal. And often people look at the glass half empty. Like these days you cannot stay in one job forever. This, you join once, you stay forever, it doesn't exist anymore. But the positive side is, yes, and that's exciting because you can do so many other things, and it's so much more accessible. So yes, I think that sounds super exciting. So before, when we talked, you mentioned you have 5 principles of portfolio careers. So are these kind of like check boxes, what it is for people to check?
Okay.
What are these?
All right, perfect. So let me start. What are these 5 principles, first of all? They were, I kind of compiled them because of my experience. So when I left my corporate job, I didn't have a direction, or I didn't have a group of people to work with, to basically get where I am now. You know, I just wanted to find somebody who actually has done it, and it's very difficult to find such people because they don't. 5 years ago when I left, it was not that popular, right? It's gaining popularity now, but at that point of time, it was difficult. So after 5 years of doing this, I have a system and an approach that I think works, because there are many different paths people can take, but most of the professionals that are in the corporate job, and they're in one corporation, they just don't see, they have no idea what is outside, what is the opportunities outside. And that's why, because they don't see it, they think, oh, there are no opportunities, but actually that's totally not true. And these 5 principles are the way to find out what is out there and what can I potentially do. So the first and very important one, and it is valid for whether you leave your corporate job or whether you stay or whatever you do, whether you're entrepreneur, not entrepreneur, solopreneur, whatever, have build your personal brand. Because in this digital world, if you're silent, if people don't know about you, then how are you going to attract clients? How are you going to attract opportunities? Even at jobs, how are you going to attract people looking for you as the next C-suite executive in their company if you're not there in the digital world? Now looking for people, social media is like a normal thing to do. And that's the first one. You have to start, choose a social media, whichever there's so many. I chose LinkedIn because it is the most, professional, but I also branched out to YouTube. Now starting Instagram, diversifying a little bit, Substack, but there are many, and they all offer monetization opportunities. So the first and very important one is to start building your personal brand. And what does it mean? It means that you have to start sharing in the open space what you're doing, how you're doing, even things that you do building at the moment, and you haven't reached yet the perfect solution, but you are building in the open, and you're talking about how you're approaching things. So that's what it is. That's what building your personal brand means. The second thing is, you have to look within and see what are these qualities that you can monetize. What are the qualities that people come to you the most with questions? What are your skills, experiences that are unique, and that if somebody wakes you up during the night, you're going to talk about this subject or topic like in your sleep. It will be so easy. So what are these skills, and how, first of all, define them, and then see in the market, make a research, what is the demand for that. So for instance, there is a big demand of helping people how to develop their personal brand, for instance, right? Other demand is for fractional executives, like part-time C-suite, like CEO, CMO, or even heads of departments. So once you do that, you then can develop product or services. So when I talk about product, it's like, it can be a digital course, it can be a guide, it can be some templates that you sell, so Notion templates or Canva templates or anything else. So there are many different things you can do. Or services, or you start coaching, you develop a community, you have accelerator, you have other video programs. Many things you can do. So product is the second principle, because if you want to monetize, you have to have an asset, a product that you're going to sell, and that's the second step. The third step is that everybody who, regardless whether you're in a corporate life or you're outside and you're building your own business, you have to be able to speak to people and advertise yourself as part of your personal brand building, but also your products and services to other people, and not only through the digital space, but also through speaking opportunities, speaking at podcasts, the way we do it now, speaking at events, speaking at corporate events even. There's so many things. I mean, creating videos because you're speaking. So how to speak, become a good speaker. So that's the third principle. The fourth principle is around the path that people can take, which is board member, advisor, fractional executive. So this is for people who have a bit more experience, right? 10 maybe years, 15, who are expert in that in given field, or even if they were a C-suite executive, they can pursue this path. And this is like a great opportunity to spend little time with the company, right? You with them, let's say once a month or 10 days a month, but then you have an income and you are responsible for a particular part of their business. So for instance, if there is a startup company and they need a CEO to organize their operations, but they cannot afford you because you're just a very senior person, they can take you for a week, a month, and this is how you have 3 or 4 such companies. There you are, you have an income. So that's the fourth principle. And the fifth principle is wealth, building wealth, becoming an investor. Because there are not a lot of people who actually think about investing as a way to have a passive income. And people think that they have to have millions so they can start investing. But the thing with investing and money is that they compound. So the sooner you start, and regardless what amount you start, you have to start investing. So for instance, I'm investing in ETFs, which is very safe type of investment. Other people invest in equities. There's so many options out on the market. So the fifth principle is about, okay, find what is out there, talk with brokers, talk with friends, find out what is your risk level. But instead of keeping your money on a current account or saving account or deposit, you have to start thinking about investing in some kind of equities or other products that potentially will compound, and in 5 years they'll bring you additional income stream. The other type of investing is also investing in yourself, because we're changing. Things are changing so much. I'm looking back, and only 5 years, so many things have changed. Like 4 years ago, I didn't have AI. I had nothing, I didn't know 80% of the things I know now as a solopreneur. And then suddenly, ChatGPT and all the other AIs came in, and you have to keep not only keep in touch with everything that's happening, but it's your opportunity to actually create better things, create better products, use these new technologies to basically service and help other people. So that's the fifth. And that is one overarching kind of topic that's valid for all of these pillars and principles, is obviously AI and technology, how to use so you can leverage better everything you have, all your skills and assets. So that's my approach.
Wow. Let me recap and you tell me if I took properly notes. So it's personal brand, it's the qualities, which then leads to the products and services. Then it's speaking, fractional work, and wealth, including investing in yourself. I love this. And I had like so many things where I want to follow up on, because funnily enough, fractional work was one of my questions I had prepared, because I've gotten really curious about that. But in Switzerland, I'm based in Switzerland, it's not really a thing yet in Switzerland. I know it's quite established in the US, it's quite established in the UK. Maybe, you talk to so many people, so I'd be curious to know where else it's established. In Switzerland, it's not really a thing yet. So I'm even talking to HR companies, like recruitment companies. I was like, where do you see this going? And they see a lot of interest on the people side, like on people wanting to do fractional work, but they don't see so much supply yet on the company side. So I put myself onto a mission that I want to push this forward in Switzerland, because many of my peers, they have the grades now, they have the level to offer it. And I'm kind of trying to tell them, look, if we team up and we amplify our voice, maybe some employers start thinking about it, because maybe they just hadn't thought about it before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, with all this work, it's you reaching out is very important, because in corporate, we're just accustomed, again, my next promotion and this and that, and then you have to do certain things and you get there. But when you get out and you want to, for instance, have a fractional opportunity, you have to reach out to companies and think about it. I mean, are these startups? Are that medium to small, medium-sized companies? Because we are all looking at the big corporations, but maybe they don't have the need. It's mostly startups, small and medium-sized companies. So you have to think, okay, in Switzerland, which are these companies? I mean, what is there database where such companies are, and start methodically approaching these companies, and that's your sales process, right? Lead generation process, and that's how it works.
That's such a great idea. So when you, like, the people you work with or you had on your podcast, what are the roles? So I work, because I just left the humanitarian world. So we have many people, many of my network are also people more in the development humanitarian sector. And my perception, but maybe it's wrong, is that, it's like chief marketing officer, chief operating officer. So that's somebody from the humanitarian world could do. Chief financial officer, so what are the types of jobs that you can go fractional, and which are the types of jobs where it's harder to offer them as a fractional role?
Well, every kind of leadership job can be fractional when you think about it. Chief accountant, chief financial officer, even not, you don't need to be chief, right? I mean, if you want somebody to develop your marketing, well, that can be part-time. Sales process, also part-time. Even on working on products, product design, that can be also part-time. Projects, it can be part-time. Technology, it can be part-time. Actually, when I think about it, it very much, everything can be part-time and done by external person, because basically what happens is that you have this person, but for a shorter period of time. They're not a full-time employee with you. It's a part-time employee, because probably you don't have the need to have a full-time employee. And maybe that's another thing why companies have not realized, because they are working probably with, I don't know, agencies, and they haven't yet discovered that, wait a second, I can have in-house a couple of people, and then somebody who is really senior, who comes and gives the direction every week, a month, and then we execute, and then comes again, etc. So thinking about it, I just can't imagine what can't be done this way.
So maybe, because I think maybe let's define for listeners what's fractional, because when I did some trainings on the topic, and I kind of really made clear the difference between fractional ad interim, because basically, and you correct me, but my understanding of fractional is you have a senior person that comes in once a week, twice a week, but basically it's a person integrated into the leadership team that has leadership responsibilities, but just does it part-time. Because what I see a lot in, particularly on the humanitarian development world, it's very common to have consultants or agencies in the corporate world, but that's different, because that's external, different. Right?
Exactly, it's external, and no consultant has, I mean, consultants come, they do consulting, and they're not interested in implementation and the ongoing management of whatever you're doing. While the fractional professional or executive, they do have, right? So that's the bigger difference. So you're hiring somebody, but they don't work only with you, they work with 3 other companies. That's it. That's the difference. So a consultant is completely different. They come, they give you the PowerPoint, tell you what to do, and then they disappear. That's it.
And also it's less efficient, because to a point where they actually understand what you're doing, they need much more time than if you have
Exactly.
somebody embedded.
Exactly.
So another thing that came up, and that's maybe becoming really technical, so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I think it's a really interesting work. Because let's say I'm a fractional CMO and I work in 3 companies. Have you worked with people, or have you seen how they manage conflict of interest? So you go into different industries, or how do you avoid that that you can really give it all in every specific role, but you don't dilute or you don't get into trouble between the roles?
Well, the thing is that there are different NDAs that you can sign and companies can sign. You can choose, you can disclose who you're working with, so it's very clear from the very beginning, so you know that there is no conflict of interest. I think it's the same approach as you would follow if you declare any outside interest. Let's say you are in a company, working in a company, and you decide to start your side business. So the same things that you are going to disclose to your employer, it's the same way with the fractional, right? You just have to disclose all the work you do for others and signed agreements with the different companies.
Okay, yeah. Look, that sounds
I'm not
great.
that much into that particular. I mean, I can't speak so much into that because that's not my expertise. And in my accelerator, I have somebody who has been a fractional executive for the last 8 years, and then I'm going to get her input and everything just to see how this is done in very deep details.
Great. Another thing that came up when I listened to your principles, and that's also something I'm challenging myself on. So I'm totally sold on the potential of the internet, like the global workspace that we can approach, and the speaking, all of that goes with it, and the potential of AI. And at the same time, part of my work is getting people off the screen, like into the woods, into nature, disconnect. And what I'm trying to get clear myself, but maybe you have a few or you've seen it. So, well, supposedly I can build a portfolio career where a part of it is completely offline and a part of it is generating income, making all the best out of all those amazing online opportunities. Or how would you see that combination? Maybe a top executive wants to be also a gardener, so maybe there's some really random combinations of income streams that have nothing to do with any screen and any internet involved.
Okay. So I can speak only from my perspective of how I see this and how I work with my coaching clients. Because what's the goal of a portfolio career? The goal of portfolio career is that you create income streams that basically at one point give you the freedom to do whatever you want with your time. Because when you have a job and a salary, you're on a payroll in a company, right? And it might be amazing company, the best in the world, and you might be really well treated, etc. But your time is not yours. You are selling your time for money, right? That's it. As simple as that. And some people thrive in that. I'm not saying it's bad, but the thing is, portfolio career for me, that was the biggest difference for me was that I wanted to use the time in a different way. I didn't want to depend on somebody else and do things that they want um, all the time. I just wanted to create my own timeline of my day, my weeks, my months, etc. So I do work. I mean, today in today's world, to be completely disconnected or very much disconnected, you have to probably be with some specific niche, which I can't even think about now at the moment. If you ask me what is this niche, I cannot answer. But the thing is that I want to use my time so I can have more time to go on a walk, to walk my dog, to spend time with my kids, to have a nice dinner without me answering emails. And that for me is the disconnect because we are more and more connected. We can't escape that, in my opinion. We are in that stage of development, but the thing is we can balance it. No, balance is not the right word. we can actually plan and use our time in a more effective way. So we have this on a daily basis. We have time for ourselves, for walks, for be away from screens, and we can plan the whole day to be away from screen. I mean, that's the beauty of it. So when you have a portfolio career, especially how it works with me, sometimes I can just wake up in the morning and I can rearrange my day in a way that between 10 and 12, I'll go out with my husband, we'll go have coffee, we'll walk around, etc. And then I come back and I catch up on work, etc. I can't do that in a corporate role. It's not possible. Even with the best, the best boss who is really understanding and you're doing your job, still you can't do that. So that's what the answer to your question is. You just control your time, and it's the most important thing, to be able to control your time, because time is the most valuable thing. We think 10,000 other things are valuable. No, time is like one thing that it's, you cannot rewind, you cannot reverse, you cannot go back, nothing. It just passes. That's it, gone. Money, you can earn money. Even health is so important. But even if you get ill, you can recover, right? And get back to that stage. With time, that's it. You'll never be 20, you'll never be 40, you'll never be 50 again. That's it. It's gone. So that's why for me, time is the most important thing. And how I use it is very, very
Yeah,
important.
and that's amazing. And I imagine once you have that level of freedom, like freedom to choose when to do what, then
Yeah.
you never move back. Like once you
It's
tasted
it's
that, then
impossible. I mean, I just really don't want to ever move back. I don't know. There might be such a scenario. I don't want to say never, never, because you never know what can happen in the world. And suddenly, I don't know. I mean, look at the geopolitical situation. Something can happen, and then you have to go back to something like a corporate type of job. I don't know. But if it won't be my choice, it won't be my choice. It takes time to get to this stage. It doesn't happen overnight, and people think, oh, it's so easy. Well, it's like every other good thing. It happens with a lot of work, but you can control your time, and then the way you work, what you work on, etc. It's just a completely different ball game.
wow. So I'm sold. If the listeners are also like, oh my God, I want this now. So we talked a bit already a little bit about the profile. So often it's really people that, I mean, I guess anybody can just go and have a portfolio career, but also probably if you have a certain level of experience behind you, it's probably easier to pitch yourself fractionally. There are probably pros and cons. So tell us a bit more, because you mentioned you work on an accelerator. So if people are really keen, like I want to find out what can I do practically,
Yeah.
what is the accelerator about, or
Yeah.
where should they start?
Yeah. So the Portfolio Career Accelerator starts on the 26th of January. And this is the first ever cohort that I'm making. So I have capped it to 20 people. I have 10 already signed up. And it is 8 weeks. And during these 8 weeks, we'll cover all the five principles and plus AI. And for some of the topics, I have guest trainers. So, for instance, for speaking, I have invited Julian Treasure, who is you can watch his TED Talks. He has more than 160 million views on his TED Talks. He has four or five, and one of his TED Talk is the sixth most viewed TED Talk ever. So
Wow.
he's the one that's going to teach for a week in 2 or 3 sessions. Then I have other people who left corporate world and are advisors, fractional executives. They're going to talk about that. I have entrepreneurs talking about product. I also going to talk about product. I'm going to cover um, the the social media part of it, and I'm going to be the key trainer throughout the accelerator. But I also have guests. So it's 8 weeks. It starts 26th of January, finishes at 20th of March, and basically anyone can. Uh, After the accelerator, people will know what is portfolio career and what are the opportunities they would not see otherwise, right? Being in a corporate job. So
So they would basically have, because 8 weeks is a lot and it's a little at the same time, right? So in the
yeah,
8 weeks at the end, they would be really clear on what it is, how it would look like, what it would take, and
yeah,
where to start. Is
yeah,
that fair?
exactly. Yeah, and they would probably have something. They would probably start their building their personal brand. They would. We'll have every week. We'll have a Q&A session and workshops where people can ask questions, etc. And after the accelerator, everybody will have 3 months for free in my community, because I have also a community which is called Change is Possible, and it's a monthly paid. I mean, it's a membership, and I talk exactly about the same topics. We have master classes, we have. We help people build their personal brand and all the things that will be concentrated in 8 weeks in the community. You can go through them in a matter of a year, and then continuously get help. And it's more about other people being there, they're building the same thing, and we exchange ideas. I'm there to advise. So there is going to be a continuation, right? You learn all this, you have 3 months in the community where you can start building and ask questions, and then potentially you can stay in the community, and until you have put all the pillars in action.
That sounds great. And maybe we'll get back for a second to your own LinkedIn, because, I don't want this to be selling, and you've been very humble, but I think it's worthwhile because you really know what you're talking about. So you built an amazing LinkedIn personal brand. Maybe say just, let's not make this overselling, but let's celebrate and acknowledge what you achieved, so people also realize that you really know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I have 100 and almost going to 120,000 followers on LinkedIn. Well, I started in 2023, and I mean, posting every day, because building your personal brand, it doesn't happen like, oh, I'll post today and then in 1 month, etc. No, you have to approach it as a job, because if you want to achieve something, you have to put the work and you have to do the efforts. You have to know who to follow, you have to know from who to learn, and you have to implement it, and be inventive and not shy to share about your knowledge and experience, because there are many people who actually are afraid to share. So I started, and for 2 years it took me to get to 17,000 followers, and then in a matter of 1 year I just grew to more than 100,000. It was I remember putting my goals, because it's very important to put to have your goals, because many people um, just go ahead without even knowing what are they doing, what are they trying to achieve. So I remember putting my writing my goals and thinking, okay, in um, in 12 months I want to be at 100,000 followers. And I was just thinking, that's that's crazy, this is never going to happen. But I said to myself, I'm going to put it, and I'm going to put all the efforts, and I actually beat I got there in 9 months.
Wow,
So yeah,
congrats.
I got there in 9 months. So, but the thing is, this is one of the things that when I talk about personal brand, everything that I do, every single thing, comes from the fact that I publish things every single day on LinkedIn. That's it. I Every day. So it is part of me. I can't imagine a day when I'm not going to share some experience or knowledge or advice or whatever on LinkedIn. I just can't imagine. If I don't post, I'm like, something is missing. It's like every job, you have a job and you have 10 things in this particular job, and this is one of the very important things, because this is how people get to know me. And the more I got opportunities, even when I had 2003, 5, 7, 10, 15, I had different opportunities then too. I mean, people would come to me. But as you grow even more, it's just almost on a daily basis, you get messages and invitations and this and that. So it's amazing. You just have to do it to
And what I like
find
about
out
what you
what it
say,
is.
because it's so tempting to look at people that have had a lot of success. Look at your profile and go like, oh my God, she has like over 100,000 followers. But I think it's so important what you're saying, and just to always remind people that every success is also a lot of hard work and showing up
Yeah,
every single day, and you just
every
have to
single day.
continue going.
That's the main thing. When when the main problem I see with people that I coach. So I sit with them and I ask them, so what do you want to achieve? And you can't imagine how many people don't know. They think they know, but they have never sat down to think and to write down what they want to achieve. Because sometimes in your head, there's many thoughts and I want this and I want that. But when you start writing them down, you suddenly see, oh, wait a second, I actually don't know what I want. And they think, but they still do things without knowing where they're going. And then they're so frustrated because they're not achieving anything. Yeah, of course. If you imagine, I explained this as getting in a car, and you get in a car in a taxi, let's say, and the taxi driver asks you, so where do you want to go? And you say, I don't know. And the taxi driver gets you wherever they want you to go, right? And then you're not happy. Of course you're not happy. So better you get in the car and you know exactly what is the waypoint where you want to go. You punch it in, tell them that's the address, this is where I'm going to go. And they're going to get you there, right? So that's how important it is to have goals. And I'm not talking about measurable and this and that. No, you have to know. Like I wanted to reach 100,000, but not because 100,000, not the number, but because that will give me opportunities. That will teach me. I will be an expert, right? After so many followers, obviously I know what I'm talking about. After having a community podcast, obviously I know about portfolio career, right? So that's what I wanted to achieve. So I can turn this into my main business, that I help people achieve the same. I help successful professionals to create and grow professional portfolio careers. And people ask me, why successful? Why not unsuccessful professionals? And the thing is that, you know, there's so many people who want to do something, but they never do it because they always find some reason not to do things, right? Oh, I'm not going to do it because not I'm too late, or I'm just afraid of this, or and maybe not the right time. I want to help somebody who actually is going to achieve something, right? And they're going to get off and start implementing what I'm teaching them. That's why I'm saying, you know, I work with professionals who are generally successful and they have achieved something in their life, right? I'm not saying they become C-suite executive, but you have to have some drive. You have to have some grit to achieve anything in this life.
Absolutely. No, that really resonates. And I came to a similar conclusion, so, and there's so many of those professionals out there that they're just stuck right now because they've climbed so high, they know they want something else, but they don't know what they want and where to go. So if you come in and you tell them, look, have you thought about this? And this is how it would look like. They might go like, oh my God. And then
Yeah.
they gear up the sleeves. I mean, I can so relate to that. I have a few coaches that are exactly that. You tell them you should do this, and the next time they've done that and double and come back with like two super concrete questions, what to do next. You discuss together and off they go. And it's joyful to work that way, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Honey, this is super rich. Time is ticking. How about we do the quick fire verse question,
Okay.
and then we'll have one big wrap up. But I love this part. I mean, you've been warned. It's quite a simple, fun bit. I'll be throwing 6 or 7 questions at you, and I challenge you to answer with one word, or 2 words, one idea.
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Ready to go.
Excellent. So, can you name one belief you had to drop to live your way?
Stability.
A place that cracked something open in you.
Kilimanjaro, the top of Kilimanjaro. I climbed Kilimanjaro in 2024 and it was an amazing feeling.
Oh, wow. I wanted to do that. I had it all lined up and then I got pregnant. So now it's still on my dream list. But wow,
Yeah,
congrats.
amazing.
Wow. One thing you had to unlearn.
I had to unlearn climbing and always looking up because now I'm looking sideways because it's not only up. You just create that how to say it, platform of many things, and you're going not going up, but you're going wide.
I love that climbing. That's fantastic. You're non-negotiable right now.
Time.
Yes, of course. The boldest risk that you took and that paid off.
Leaving my job.
Yeah, I was expecting something like having a portfolio career, but yeah, same idea.
Yeah, but the other thing is when I was 20, I can't remember, 24, I bought my first apartment with a huge loan. And it was like 35 square meters, my apartment. And I didn't have money at all for nothing. But the bank that I was working it had this scheme that not scheme but for to help employees. And only few of us risked that. And then we had huge benefits because Bulgaria after that went into a crisis and the loans got depreciated so quickly that then I bought a bigger apartment and a bigger and a bigger and a bigger, and that was something that I'm so grateful that I did that. That's another thing that made a big difference in my life.
So that's another nice risk to really invest really young. I mean, that is quite intimidating at that age.
Exactly. Everything was intimidating. Everything.
And then you got to do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So one word for your leadership or your life in this chapter.
Optionality. Creating options for people.
And what is the ripple you hope your story will create?
Freedom.
Oh, yes.
Freedom. And although there is no total freedom, you always depend on somebody. But at least freedom to be able to manage your time the way you want.
I'm sure that will resonate with so many people. Wow, thanks so much for playing along. That was really insightful. I love that because, when you have to bottom line to like really one idea, it's super interesting what comes out. So really, thanks so much.
No problem. My pleasure.
So as we wrap this up, and if there are now listeners that go like, oh my God, I'm super excited about portfolio career, what is one small first step you would encourage people to do today or tomorrow?
Today, well, if they're interested, they should go to my LinkedIn profile. And there is, even if they're not interested to join the accelerator, they should click on the accelerator and see what is in there. That enough will give them an idea. And the other thing is, I have 2 free webinars that I do every month. And one is on portfolio career, the other one is on future of work. So these are free.
They're on your profile, right? Because I can then add them into the show notes or anyway.
Sorry?
These webinars are on your LinkedIn profile, I
Yes,
believe.
yeah,
Right?
on the LinkedIn profile. They're actually tomorrow and the day after tomorrow.
Okay, so here, this will come out on the 22nd. So this will be in the
next
past.
month. Yeah.
But because you mentioned the accelerator starts the 26th, so even if this comes out only a few days before, people can still reach out to you, right?
Totally. Yes,
Fantastic.
absolutely.
Wonderful, Annie. It was first of all such a pleasure getting to know you a bit more. And yeah, thanks so much for sharing all your wisdom and your knowledge. This was hugely insightful and inspiring.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I love the conversation. And I wish you all the best with your podcast and everything you do.
Thank you very much. In like 2 years' time, I knock on your door and come on your podcast when I build my portfolio career.
Absolutely. I would love to feature you on my podcast.
I need some time to build, but I'll come knocking at some point.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today. If this stirred something in you, don't just sit on it. Do something, anything, today, right now. Take one small intentional step toward more freedom, flow, and fun. And see where the ride takes you. If this hit home, follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a review. That's how we ripple this energy further. Want to go deeper? Head over to mindset/mastery.ch for coaching, tools, and next steps. Until next time, trust your gut, stay curious, and keep playing it by your rules. Bye for now.